Good morning. This is Amazon Jude coming to you from Wyoming. And today's date is January 26th, 2019. Looks like the shutdown's over with. President Trump went ahead and did what was right for the people that are screaming they're going to food banks and all kinds of shit. I don't know what it is about a federal worker, but they don't seem to have any other trade than sitting on their dead ass. But anyway, he went ahead and did that and gave them till February 15th to pull their head out of their ass and make a good, honest deal on building the border wall and the security and the equipment those guys need down there, hiring, 2,700 more Border Patrol guys and equipment and all that stuff, which is fine. People are looking at Trump right now as though he was the loser in this. The fair weather Trump supporters like Ann Coulter. What a neurotic bitch, huh? She's neurotic. I'd hate to have her as a wife or a girlfriend. I'd never know if I was coming or going. But anyway, here's the long game for you short-minded people. One, Trump wants to do the State of Union address. And by God, he should be able to. He wasn't going to be able to do it with the government shutdown, so that's one of the reasons he went ahead and let it go. And secondly, with such a short-term deal, 21 days, those guys are going to have to work their ass off, the Democrats and the Republicans, to show that they actually know what they're doing in Congress, in the House. And if they can't show that to the people, man, I feel sorry for the troublemakers in 2020, because they're not going to be winning anything. They already know Trump gets this wall, 2020 is a shoo-in. It's going to be a shoo-in anyway. Trump's done more in the 2 years that he's been in office than the last 5 fucking puppets that were in the office. And they were puppets. All they did was make promises and not keep any of them. And nobody ever asked a Democrat, how many promises have you kept? You know why? Because they can't say any. They haven't kept any of their promises, except for to fuck America over. And the third part is that, okay, he can do the State of the Union address. They don't come up with a good plan. He does it through Army Corps of Engineers. The caravan's on its way. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. That's about when they'll arrive. And we'll show it as an emergency on the border. You can also go through CDC, because the motherfuckers are bringing in chicken pox, tuberculosis, all these diseases we've long eradicated in the United States are making a sudden reappearance because these people have never had vaccinations. And we don't need more people to bleed on welfare, okay? And, America brings in more illegals and migration than any other country in the world besides Germany. And boy, look at how that worked out. Look at Venezuela. The guys are eating out of garbage cans, eating their pets. And that googly eyes, those Soros and Sanders are all going, well, let's do what Denmark and Venezuela's doing. Yeah, they're doing real good over there, aren't they? People, we're in a fight for our country. We're in a fight for our lives. And if we don't do something about it, and I keep saying this in every one of my videos, if we don't do something about voter fraud, they're going to cheat their fucking way into the White House. Because that's all Democrats know how to do, is cheat, lie, deceive, steal, corrupt, abuse their power. That's what they've done. It's not the Kennedy Democrats anymore. These motherfuckers are socialists. And they want to take America down. We're the last country standing in the freedom world as far as much freedom as we have. And they're trying to steal it from us. And 70% income tax on the rich? What are you, fucking nuts? You know how many companies would leave this country so goddamn fast and money would go back into offshore accounts like crazy, exactly where the Democrats have theirs and the rich Republicans. And Mitt Romney, fuck you. Susan Collins, fuck you. Lisa Murkowski, fuck you too, bitch. You three are a fucking disgrace to the Republican Party. To vote against Donald Trump's keeping the government shut down till we get things straightened out with border security shows exactly. Susan Collins is nothing more than a cockholder for Chuck Schumer. Mitt Romney, he's a flip-flop. He flip-flopped and never fought for anything in his fucking life. He's been rich all of his life. He has no fucking clue. And in politics, you know, the phony world. Murkowski, her daddy gave her the fucking governorship or the Senate seat up there and the governorship one time. So we got 3 fucking losers in the Republican Party still. And there's a few more too. Ones that are so obscure we've never even heard of. Because there was 7 Republicans that voted against paying the workers, the federal workers, and it killed the bill for the Congress. And in the House, you know, it looks like we have 100 Republicans that are fucking garbage. Anyway, the point being, Trump didn't chicken out, he didn't bow out, he didn't do anything. He made a wise decision for the country. And that's what he's supposed to do as president. Do you think Nancy Pelosi would make that kind of decision? How about Hillary Clinton? How about Bernie Sanders? How about Joe Biden, Mr. fucking pedophile? Yeah, they think he's going to be the front runner. Kamala Harris, the bitch who fucking lost her job for prosecutional misconduct in California. Ever seen her district? It's got more human shit laid on the sidewalk than the beaches of California. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I'm not a fair-weathered Trump supporter. I'm a 100% grade A American woman, and I love my president, and I love everything he's been doing. He fucks up, but you know what? He's human. Who the fuck isn't human? It would scare me if he didn't fuck up. It would tell me that he's either a robot or he's a puppet. So, to all you fair-weathered Trump supporters, fuck you. And, hey, I'm on my way to the grocery store. You know what it's like to have a job that's not in the federal government and be able to buy my groceries?
Attack happened here early Sunday. The attack happened here early Sunday morning. 27-year-old Seth Rich, seen here in his LinkedIn profile picture, murdered as he walked in a neighborhood he called home.
Seth Rich was shot twice in the back in what police said looked like a botched robbery. He was taken to hospital but died 2 hours later, just one of 139 murders in the DC area last year. Still, the death of somebody linked to Hillary Clinton's campaign was enough to set the internet alight with theories about what might have really happened. In August, WikiLeaks offered a $20,000 reward, and then on Dutch television, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange suggested that Rich was his source for the Democrats' emails.
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
Why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States.
My colleague, if I thought for 1 second that building a stupid wall would somehow secure our borders, I'd be for it. But every expert I've talked to, including people on the border, say they need more personnel. Say we ought to invest more in electronic equipment to surveil our borders. I don't know of a wall that's ever been built where people haven't climbed over or dug under. I mean, this
Israel,
is
you ball-headed fucktard.
When the president campaigned, he said he wanted to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it. Now he wants to build a wall.
Oh, big deal. We're paying for it.
By all accounts, is going to be useless in terms of...
We got $7 million towards the motherfucker less than 72 hours. So now what do you say, you stupid little motherfucker? This is that Cohen. I can't stand him. He is one of the biggest pieces of shit in Congress. Even look at his aides. They're all over there. This guy just rattles on and on and on. Then he says nothing worth value. I'm going to fall asleep. I should have had a VA.
Let's get back to that Fox News alert. Roger Stone arrested following an indictment. We're told that was yesterday, but he's just arrested this morning. Indictment by a federal grand jury as part of special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Stone being charged with obstruction, 5 counts of giving false statements, as well as witness tampering. So, what does this mean for the investigation? Here to weigh in, journalist and senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, Lee Smith.
And the House Intelligence Committee about having any contacts, emails, texts, showing communications with WikiLeaks and Assange. Did you believe he was lying when he testified?
Yes, and actually, I expected him to be, the typical in-your-face confrontational Roger Stone, and I observed, throughout the interview, he wasn't like that at all. He was actually, pretty serious, which I guess should have told me that something was going on, which was he was facing Congress and lying to our faces. But the message here should be you have to be straight with Congress. If you are not, we are a rule of law society. You will be held to account, and he's paying the.
And what happened to Eric Holder? How about Hillary Clinton's pals? How about Clapper, Comey, McCabe, Rosenstein, all those fuckers? Oh, that's right, they're Democrats. They get to lie to Congress and walk
Office of the
free.
Director of National Intelligence findings on Russia's involvement in the U.S. election on Friday. The DNI released a declassified summary of a more detailed report that went to President Obama and President-elect Trump. The report makes the assessment that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an influence campaign aimed at the presidential election.
Yeah, me to repeat it, please. Okay, sir. Sure. Happy to indulge you. I can't pull away what the F happened to our country, Lise.
Your private account to find out what else you might have said about insurance policies or about the President of the United States or investigation. That is a rhetorical question you need not answer, and I yield back.
Mr. Chairman, may I nonetheless answer?
You may respond briefly, even though he said it was a rhetorical question.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. Congressman, what I think is critical, and I'm glad you brought up a lot of these, because I would like to make the point that
I didn't bring them up. I just asked you to read your own words.
The investigation was supposedly opened by the FBI. Do you know who opened that investigation? One Andy McCabe, who has now been accused of by the IG of lying under oath on 3 separate occasions. He was fired, and who did he turn the investigation over to? One Peter Strzok, who became famous for looking into the Clinton email scandal, and whose lover, Lisa Page, had an insurance policy against this president. So we shouldn't be surprised that this potentially happened. What we should be surprised is that there's no one been accountable at the FBI. Not Jim Baker, not Andy McCabe, not Peter Strzok. No one has been arrested from that organization yet, and they should have been walked out of there.
Would the gentleman yield? The Speaker and the parliamentarian indicate that the proper procedure was followed, but the vote was not asked for. And therefore, I feel badly about it because I understand the problem you're in. But I have members who have left for the airports, and they're not going to be here, and they need the vote, if it was reconsidered, is...
They're out in the hallway steady because they didn't get a leave.
equally important on our side as it is on your side. And I cannot expose my members to missing that vote, nor will I. And I apologize for that, but I hope you understand that given the situation, I cannot let my members be subjected to missing that vote, which is a very important vote for them.
Would the gentleman yield, because there is a possible solution to this?
And therefore, Mr. Whip, I will have to object.
But would the gentleman yield?
I will assert my objection is heard.
Objection is heard.
I will be glad. Ask unanimous consent to speak out of order for 1 minute.
Is recognized.
I yield to my friend, the minority whip.
And I appreciate the gentleman yielding, and I appreciate the fact that now there are a lot of members who have left the chamber, but at the same time, the gentleman from Kentucky did stand and ask for a recorded vote. Whether or not that was heard or not, we'll obviously have to watch the tape, but it's an important piece of legislation that members, I'm sure from both parties, would like to be recorded on, not just to have a voice vote, which we oppose to because it didn't reopen the government with border security, and obviously we're in the middle of negotiations and we're trying to resolve on that. However, there would be a motion that I believe, Mr. Speaker, would be in order that would resolve this for the time being while we make sure that everybody's got the opportunity to be back for the vote, and that would be to ask unanimous consent to vacate the previous vote and postpone reconsideration until we return next week. Would the gentleman be open to object?
The gentleman from Maryland is recognized on his time.
This is a very critical vote. The government is shut down. We think the government should not be shut down.
So do we.
And the gentleman says he doesn't think we should go home. Very frankly, there's nothing we can do because the majority leader has said he will not do anything unless the President of the United States gives him leaves to do so. And the President of the United States wants to keep the government shut down. Ladies and gentlemen,
if I could ask the gentleman to yield
be in order.
I'm reserving my time. This was not a small vote. And I will tell you, had it been on our side, you would have heard us demand a vote. Now, I have a lot of people...
And we would have heard you and allowed the vote when we were in the majority. And we did, in fact, allow all of those votes.
We raised an objection at the proper time, and we got a vote. I understand that. I will tell you, and you know that, you look around the room. All of your members are not here. And like my members,
we'll come back
on the road going to a plane.
Of course, he said, I wanted to go back and amend my previous testimony because I know they're looking at process crimes. I wanted to make sure that I was not telling something untrue. They wouldn't let me change it. So they had Professor Dershowitz to comment on this on Fox News last night after Corsi. And Carlson says, look, if Jerome Corsi claims that he's allowed to amend his testimony and then being threatened with prosecution for lying, using the first unamended transcript of the testimony, does this pass a smell test with you, Professor?
In 55 years of practicing criminal law, I have never heard or read of any case where a person was allowed to amend his testimony and then corrected it and was then threatened with indictment for the unamended original alleged lie. That just seems utterly unprecedented if those facts are correct.
So let me unpack.
And the fact is that Jerome Corsi and Roger Stone never had contact with Julian Assange. I don't know how many people understand this, but most of us believe that it was Seth Rich who used a zip drive and downloaded all of the emails and then sent them to Julian Assange. And for that, he was murdered in the streets of Washington on his way home from his girlfriend's house, 6 o'clock in the morning. Nobody saw nothing. And you know who the investigator was, or the prosecutor was on that case? Debbie Wasserman Schultz's brother, Stephen. Yes, the same one that was on the case of the Vegas shooting, the Florida nightclub shooting, and a few others to boot. I don't know what this guy is doing in the prosecutor's office to begin with, because he's not doing his job. And Seth Rich was murdered for that. And Mueller's trying to come up with some other way to make this come off, to make it look like Trump and Stone and Corsi all collaborated with Julian Assange. Well, you know what? I would like to see Julian Assange come to the United States, get a full pardon, and testify against all of these son of a bitches, because he knows where he got his source from. And he also, when he was on Sean Hannity's show, said, you know, it wasn't Russia. That it was a shame that a 27-year-old kid gets murdered because he was a Bernie supporter, and he found out that Hillary Clinton and Donna Brazile and Debbie Wasserman Schultz fixed it up to where Bernie Sanders wouldn't get the Democrat nomination. Okay, now all that shit's true. I don't care what the mainstream media is telling you. I don't care what the pundits are telling you. and it sure as shit don't care what CNN and MSNBC and Mueller and all of those guys are saying. Seth Rich was the one that met the professor in a park and gave him the zip drive to take to Julian Assange. So, take it any way you want to, try to make it whatever you want to, but America knows the truth that the only one colluding with Russia was Hillary Clinton, Bob Mueller, James Comey, McCabe, Baker, Page, all of those guys. And until we clean house on the intel agencies, no one's going to trust them. No one. And you'd be an idiot to do so.